Hey everybody, it's Donna here, and we're going to talk about one of what I think is one of the first books on the law of attraction, which is this book. It might come up backwards, so I'm going to read it to you. It's called The Wisdom of Florence Scovel Shinn. Her name is Florence, Scovel, Scovel, and Shinn, Shinn. So this is actually a book of her 4 books. I always forget that because I always just buy this book. But you can get it in a lot of used bookstores. As you can tell, I love this book to death. This is probably the 5th book I have of this because I love them and I travel with them. Especially when I was in corporate America, I was bringing it with me all the time. And I would lose it in hotels. I'd forget it because I would read the affirmations. So it literally goes through how our brains work and what we attract into our lives and how to always stay positive. So again, look at my flags. I'm such a total nerd, but I love this book so much. So it was written in 1925. So there are some things that I definitely, in 2020, I don't 100% adhere to, like follow what your husband likes and that will be what you should like. That kind of thing isn't really my gig, but the way that she talks about attracting things and the way that she uses affirmations, I feel like Louise Hay was someone who was very influential in my life, and I feel like this was probably someone who is a Louise Hay of her time. So she had a metaphysical job. She was considered a metaphysical like a counselor. They don't really say what her job was through the book, but people would come to her and she would speak the word for them, and it would be helping them find an affirmation that works for them and bringing in the law of attraction. So there's a lot of really great examples in this book. The game of life and how to play it, the power of the spoken word, and the word is your wand are the two middle chapters are kind of the ones that talk about how your words create action and the law of attraction. And the final one is the secret to success. So I think that this book can help anyone. And it's really interesting because I live in the South, and you can tell she was a Baptist in this. And so it kind of meshes the world of religion and metaphysical without being this or that. It's all just one, because she gives a lot of examples of the Bible. She gives a lot of examples of God. And if you are not on that path, that is okay. So you can just always say the universe or whoever you believe in. But there's a lot of great examples in this book that I think are really great. So one is in this book about protection, and I always talk about when I go into somewhere, I bubble up and I feel like there's protection around me. And right now with the virus going around, I do that all the time. And so I use her quotes in here, which it talks about, I'm protected by the white light of Christ and nothing negative can penetrate. So I think about this almost like a snow globe, and I'm in it and using her terminology. So I first found out about this book probably a good 15, 16 years ago. And someone I worked at Gillette with was saying, oh, you're so into affirmations and poems. You'd really love this book I read all the time. And she was actually Baptist. And I got it and I was like, I can't put it down. I love it so much. I read through the book right away, and I'm such a book hoarder. I love books. So I have so many books, and I knew I was going to like it, but I really, really loved it. And I just got a ticket. So I'm going to tell you how this worked for me. So I just got a ticket. I was living in South Boston, and I was at a standstill. There's a lot of traffic, and this guy pulled me over and said someone walked in front of my car, and I almost hit him, which was absolutely not true. And I just went grocery shopping, and all my groceries were in the back, and he kept joking about, oh, your groceries are melting. And he was being really mean. He was being really nasty. And so I was really worried because in Massachusetts, you get dinged on your license and your insurance, and it was a $200 ticket because he was saying that the guy was, like, I almost hit him. And so I just started reading the affirmations from this book. And again, it was probably about 15 years ago, a good 15 years ago. And before my court case, I just said, I'm going to give it up to God, and I'm going to just say these affirmations. And I started to think about, in this book, there's a part that talks about, think about this man. And even though I was thinking the most horrible things about him, because he was so absolutely horrible to me, they talk about in this book how to kind of see the person in a different light. And I was like, maybe he's a great father, maybe he's a great whatever, maybe he's the greatest best friend, and people can always call him. So I started to think of him in a positive way, and somewhere else in life somebody thinks he's really nice, because I thought he was really horrible. And so I got to court, and my last name is Clifford. So the guy was Judge, I can't remember his first name, Clifford, and then he was being kind of stoic, and he wasn't really giving me any reads, and I showed up and the guy didn't. And then he was flipping through the pages, and then he flipped through the pages a little more, and he said, did you do this? And I said, I did not see someone in front of my car. And he looked at my address, and then he said, the cop didn't show up, so he's not going to fight it. So you don't have anything in your record. We're just going to say absolutely nothing on this. We're going to give you the win, and you're good. And then he's like, my name is Clifford, and my sister is Donna Clifford. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. And then he was like, and where you live is where I lived when I first got married, and my wife and I lived in that was our first apartment together, and we lived in the building that you live in. He was asking me what number. And so it was just all these weird it was like one more thing. It was like 3 really weird things that he thought we could actually be related. And he definitely looked like my father. My father passed away when I was little, and he definitely looked like my father. But, it's not to get you out. I was actually in the right. So it's not to get you out of things that you're wrong at. But it's just a good example of that the correct energy came around, because I changed my energy. Instead of thinking something bad about him, I just pushed it away and tried to think about something positive. And then in the discussion, they found out that this guy was pulling over people who looked very similar to me, and my hair was very, very like platinum blonde then. He was pulling over all these blondes, and I had a white Jeep kind of car, and he was pulling over all these blondes and Jeeps. So he had some weird thing with blondes and Jeeps. So he got investigated, I was guessing from the conversation. So, it doesn't have anything to do with this book, but that's actually the first time I used it. And I was like, this book is magic. I'm going to use this all the time. I got out of the $200 and all these dings on. That was before I knew I was going to move out of Boston too. So I was like, this is going to be my license for 7 years. Like, this is so terrible. But there's so many great parts of this. Obviously, you can see my flags. This is just a really great book. It's so old, but it just talks about, the relationship we have with our bodies, and how stress and emotion can cloud how we see and how we hear in our actual health. And that's another part of this that she really just goes into. Being negative just hurts you physically and emotionally, as well as it only makes bad things show up. So why don't we just try to think positively? So I think this is a really great book to get. You can probably find it on Amazon in used books. This book is The Wisdom of Florence Scovel Shinn. This is her 4 complete books, but I have found on YouTube the book being read, the entire book, and I would focus on The Word is Your Wand, and that talks about positive affirmation. So this is one of my favorite books. I talk about it all the time, and I wanted to share it. This is what it looks like if you're looking for it online. And I have found different copies in used bookstores. I love bookstores, but you could probably find it on Amazon. But try to check it out, because I think it's going to be really interesting, if nothing else, because it was written in 1925, and it's so valid for everything we go, except for the husband thing, as I mentioned, but everything we go through today. But even saying that, I do think that if you don't stay connected in a relationship to growing together, I do think that there is, it's hard to kind of move forward in a relationship if you're kind of on 2 different planes, especially over decades. You have to kind of still keep the connection strong and the things that you have in common. So I think that there is some validity to what she was saying, but I do think that the way that she said it was 1925. But I do agree with, keeping in a union with your spouse or your relationship to continually grow together. I think that's how I took it. But try to check it out and tell me what you think. Follow me and share this video. Check out this book or some of the YouTube videos and let me know what you think about them. And just keep me posted. You can follow me on Divine Inhale LLC on Facebook. I have a private group, Seeker-Divine Inhale. And you can follow me, add me on Instagram at Donna Divine Inhale. So it's my name and my company name. But lots of places to find out all these great things happening. And I'm going to be posting a lot more products in the next couple of weeks, especially if we're going to be on lockdown a little bit, because I do have my retail store with crystals. So check those out, and I'll have lots of raffles, fun things. So enjoy your day and check this out. Florence Scovel Shinn. Just really amazing. So long ago, and it's just so relevant today. So have a great day. Check it out. Let me know if you found the book, and if you can't, I can try to help you get one. Bye.